Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Mustache MMA, and welcome to the breakdown, episode 2, UFC 270, Francis Ngannou versus Gane, the heavyweight championship of the world. Very exciting fight to see. Also on this card, Brendan Moreno, Devinson Figueiredo, 3 for the flyweight championship of the world. Really excited to go into this card, break down the fights, break down the fighters, give my predictions. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and just show my results from last week really quick. So overall, I went 6-4, which is okay. I wish I did a little better, but not a bad start on the year to go over 500. I got wins in Brown over Rosa, Kelleher over Kroom, losses over when McGee over Brahima, Pickett over Holmes, wins Algio over Brito, Borshev over Bush, Chikadze over Maya, Royval over Bontarin, and then more losses on Collier over Sherman, and Kattar versus Chikadze. So anyway, let's get into UFC 270. All right, first fight on the card is Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Kay Hansen. Let me get set here. A little out of okay. I'll go into Kay Hansen first. So she's really high level BJJ. She's really young as well. She's been doing MMA for the longest time. From what I remember, she was like inspired by Ronda Rousey or something. Started when she was really young. Anyway, been doing it in the pro level since she was a very young age. I think almost like 18 or 19 years old. So she does have a good amount of experience for being very young, actually holding the experience edge here over the Canadian in Jasmine Jasudavicius. Kay Hansen, she has really good top pressure. High level BJJ. She's always looking for finishes, for submissions. She's really good takedowns as well, so she can really get it down to the ground where she wants it to in most of her fights, and excel there. She has really good cardio. She doesn't slow down ever in her fight. She's always pushing a pace. She's always making her opponents uncomfortable, making them breathe heavy, making them sweat, and if they want to beat her, they're going to have to work. A big key factor here also is, the level of competition that Kay Hansen has fought is much higher than Jasudavicius has fought. So Kay Hansen has fought some really notable fighters in Corey McKenna, of course, was her second UFC fight, which I actually thought she won. Aaron Blanchfield was who I was thinking of, and I couldn't remember what her name was, and a few other fighters. So, she does have 4 losses on her resume, but some of them are to, pretty good fighters, and I think those decisions that she lost were actually much closer than they really were, and maybe she potentially deserved the win there. Going on to Jasmine Jasudavicius, she's really good in the clinch. She's good in knees there. In that clinch, she really tries to work in her trips and her body lock takedowns. She does that consistently and does that well. Her takedown offense and takedown defense, it's decent because her takedowns mostly rely on those trips, body lock takedowns. She doesn't really do any kind of single leg, double leg action, and if she does, it's not very great. On the other end, defensive takedowns, she's been shown in her past fights that she's been able to stuff some, but also been able, to be taken down pretty easily to the ground without much of a sprawl or much of a push on the head to get her opponent away and defend that takedown successfully. She does tend to really struggle against grapplers in her career. A big thing here because Kay Hansen is a very decorated grappler. When she does get back to her feet, when she's on her back, she does seem to be a little bit too comfortable there, trying to look for submissions off her back. But at the same time, she also struggles to get back to her feet. She tends to really struggle when girls have good top pressure and are able to just kind of hold her down and hunt for submissions. And she's not really able to do much and really get up from that position or at least improve her position or create any kind of scramble. She's just kind of almost stuck there at times. So with all that being said, official pick is going to be Kay Hansen here. I think she has a huge advantage on the ground, and I think she's going to be easily able to get it there with her takedown defense. Takedown offense, actually. Moving on, Matt Frevola versus Genaro Valdez. Um, Another contender series guy. Actually, Jasmine Justavicius was a contender series girl. Another contender series guy in Genaro Valdez. They're really pushing these contender series guys here early in the year. Anyway, Matt Frevola, going over him quick first. He is really good overall wrestling, offensively and defensively. He actually had a really good performance against Armin Tusukian, I believe his last name is, who is a really amazing wrestler. He took him to a decision, really made Tusukian work on the ground a lot, was able to get up a lot early. And Tusukian was really putting on that high pressure pace, and Frevola did slow down a bit at the end, but that pace was really high. He does actually have really good cardio. He is like a grinder, kind of wants that dirty fight, dirty in the clinch kind of fight. That's where he's going to win the fight. He has a lot of pressure when he fights. He's always in your face, always throwing a lot of volume, always going for takedowns, always pushing you into the clinch, making you work. He's really good submission defense. I believe he's never been submitted on his resume. He does have 3 losses, but I believe they're all by decision. Or no, that's right. He does have a bit of a chin problem. So 1 by decision, 2 by knockout. So yeah, that chin is definitely a little questionable, especially his last fight, Terrence McKinney. He got knocked out in 7 seconds. It was literally a quick 1-2 jab and follow up. It didn't even look like Terrence McKinney put too much on it, and he was out. So yeah, not the best showing from him, obviously, with that chin, and that's definitely going to be questionable going forward. Is that really going to be put to the test in this fight? It very well may be, and we'll see if that chin's able to hold up. Frevola on the striking end, he's not the best striker, but he does throw a lot of volume. He's also not really a finisher. Again, he's just a grinder. He's a point getter. He likes to make it a dirty fight, likes to make you sweat, likes to work, and his cardio and his pressure, his pace will hopefully win over in the judges' eyes. That tends to be his path to victory. Going over Genaro Valdez, he has a really good chin. He's able to really take a lot of big shots that I've seen in his tape. He's really good takedowns, and he's really good ground and pound also. Once he gets those takedowns, he tries to get into that full mount position a lot, and really just tries to start grounding, pounding his opponent heavy and hard. A big thing to note here is that his level of competition is really bad. The Mexican regional scene is pretty terrible. So he's 10-0, but 9 of his 10 wins are straight cans. They're not good opponents. And his only 1 decent win was off the Contender Series, where that guy actually put a pretty decent pace on him in a close first round until he actually took over and won it in the second with a knockout. His striking isn't the most technical. It's pretty wild, but he does have power on his hands. So if he is able to connect, he may be able to put you out. However, he is really hittable on the feet. His defense, striking defense, isn't the best. People can really hit him, and that was shown. That was shown in his last fight on the Contender Series, where that guy was in his face, putting on the pressure, and clipped him a couple times. And I believe he hurt him at once as well, maybe wobbled him a bit. And adding on to that, he really struggles with the high pace, the high volume, the high pressure. That dude who he fought in the Contender Series did that all in the first round, and he looked tired, man. His cardio is questionable, and that is going to be a key factor here. And I think Matt Frevola is really going to make this a dirty fight, is really going to grind on Valdez, and Valdez is going to just break, and his cardio is not going to be there, and Frevola is going to get the decision. So official pick is going to be Matt Frevola. Hopefully his chin holds up, though. That's the only thing I am worried about. Moving on, Vanessa Demopoulos versus Silvanna Gomez Juarez. So this one was actually on the last card. I actually went over it on my previous breakdown video, so I won't go too much into it. But yeah, I was debating switching to Demopoulos because I originally had Gomez Juarez, but I'm sticking with Gomez Juarez. So anyway, Vanessa Demopoulos, really good ground game, really good cardio. She's tough. She can take a beating essentially, but she's really hittable on the feet. She really struggles with feints. The big key factor here is Her takedown offense is just atrocious. She can't get people to the ground at all. And I think that's going to play the big factor here in who wins the fight. Silvanna Gomez Juarez, she has really good combos on the feet. She throws high volume. She has decent submission defense. She did get submitted her last fight against Lupe Godinez, but Lupe Godinez is actually pretty good for the division. Lupe Godinez actually beat both of these girls. Goodness gracious. She demolished Demopoulos on the feet, and essentially that fight could have been stopped like in the second round because she was out on her feet just about, but it went the full distance. And then Gomez, she just like took her down relentlessly with her wrestling, and then eventually got her in an armbar submission. So again, official pick here is going to be Gomez Juarez. I don't think Demopoulos is going to be able to get it to the ground, and I think the only way she wins this if she gets to the ground and gets some kind of submission. She could win a decision by getting ground control time, and maybe Gomez Juarez is able to fend off those submissions. But if Demopoulos doesn't get it to the ground, I think she loses this one because I think she has a disadvantage on the feet. Moving on, another Contender Series guy in Michael Morales. So he is fighting Trevin Giles. Factor here is this is at welterweight. Trevin Giles is actually a middleweight, so he's coming down to welterweight, cutting about another 15 pounds. So it'll be interesting to see, how is his cardio going to hold up, cutting that extra weight. Probably, I would assume he'd be slimming down a bit and cutting a little bit of weight way prior to this and slimming down. But it'll be interesting to see that and see how his cardio plays into a factor and how he looks on the scales. But anyway, Michael Morales, going over him, he has a really long reach. As you can see, he's a 79-inch reach over 74 inches to Trevin Giles. So a little tough for Giles here as he has that 5-inch disadvantage. Michael Morales has really good cardio. He has really high volume. He throws a lot. He's strong leg kicks. I think is actually going to be a pretty big factor in this fight, actually, and I'll go over it. I'll go over why when I go over Giles. But his takedowns, generally he relies on throws and trips. He does shoot doubles and singles, but sometimes they're sloppy. I've seen some that he's thrown that are actually pretty good technique, but others times they're really sloppy. Michael Morales also really open to counters. I think a big key factor here. He's also not the best technical striker, big looping shots, gets a little wild at times. And again, with these Contender Series guys, especially these Latin American guys, their level of competition is poor, man. Like, they don't have good regional scenes down there. So again, 10 out of his 12-0, 10 out of his 12 wins or cans. He has 2 decent wins. One was from that regional scene, and the other was the Contender Series. And those 2 fighters are decent. I wouldn't even say they're that great. Moving on to Trevin Giles, this dude has fast hands, really fast hands, and a really great jab. He has one of the best jabs I've seen in the UFC, especially in that middleweight division for sure. You could definitely say #1 jab in the middleweight division. He's really good takedown defense. He's really heavy hips. He's really good submission defense if he gets in a bad position, gets in a bad spot. Overall, his wrestling is good. He has that good takedown defense. He has his takedown offense of his own as well. He's a really patient fighter. He looks for his shots. He looks for counters to open up. So he's not going to rush in. And if he gets you hurt, he's not going to necessarily jump on you and swing for the fences, try to get a knockout. He's going to slowly put you out. He's a quick, really heavy leg or head kick that I've seen him throw a lot. So that could also come into factor here. A couple other things. He's really bad fight IQ, though, at times. I believe, I forget a couple fights, but I remember him just not doing the smartest decisions. Maybe, definitely visibly rocking someone, and maybe instead of, trying to piece him out on the feet, he tended to maybe go to the wrestling route, potentially. So I know he doesn't have the best fight IQ. He does keep his hands low, though, as well. So, hands are kind of at the hips, which kind of help his jab because it really snaps up there. You can't see it, and it kind of helps all his shots. He's also really good at countering, which is a big thing to factor here because I think Morales is open to counters. Also, the thing I wanted to point out with Morales' leg kicks is that Giles really relies on his front lead foot. He puts a lot of weight on it, and that's what he really uses to kind of slip his jab up there really quick. So, yeah, my official pick is actually going to be Trevin Giles. He's like a top 30 middleweight, and then coming down to welterweight, he's going to be bigger. His cardio may play a factor, but I don't think it will. He's got the counters. I think Morales is open for those. He's dealing with that big reach disadvantage, 5 inches, but I just don't see it being too big of a factor here because Morales just isn't that technical on the feet. So I just see Trevin Giles here being able to counter effectively, being able to hit his jab effectively, and getting the win, potentially by knockout. All right, moving on. We got Tony Gravely versus Saimon Oliveria, another Contender Series guy. There's literally pretty much all the prelims is like literally stacked with these guys. Tony Gravely, high-level wrestling, really good pace with the wrestling. He's going to constantly go in for takedowns, constantly put you in the clinch, constantly make you work. He's really good takedown offense. He has really good success in getting you to the ground, potentially sometimes not being able to keep you there, but being able to return you if he can, or, eventually go back to it and break off. He's really good control in the clinch. He's able to get that head position in the right spot. Fish for those underhooks and keep you in that position and slowly work you until he can get you in a good position to where he can take you down. When he does have you down, he has really good ground and pound. He has pretty good top pressure. If you're sitting there on the ground for too long in a position where you're vulnerable for ground and pound, he's going to take advantage. He's going to hit you hard a couple times. His pressure and his pace are pretty high. However, his cardio, going on that, his cardio is a little questionable. He does slow down in the third round, I'll say. But I wouldn't say he's necessarily gasses out and he's totally done. But the cardio is a factor to maybe play here. But again, he doesn't necessarily gas, so it's not a huge factor that I'm taking into account here. On the feet, he's actually improved a lot on the feet. He has really good striking. His last fight, he actually lost. He got knocked out by Nate Maness. And he actually knocked Nate Maness down in the first, and Nate Maness was saved by the bell. If there was 5 seconds left, fight over. But instead, Nate Maness came back in the second and did the same exact thing to him, countered Gravely. Gravely went down, pounded him out, had more time, and Gravely lost the bout by TKO. So questionable chin potentially, but I do think his striking defense is actually pretty good. He was just about to try, when he did get knocked out, he was trying to counter Maness, and Maness's combination was still going and clocked him in the chin and totally dropped him. A big factor here is too that he's really open to submissions as well. So, he's been subbed, I believe, 4 times in his career. So it's something to, factor in. And going back to that cardio question, and when he slows in the third, if he gets sloppy with any of his takedowns, Oliveira has a really good guillotine, and that could come into play here, and he could potentially tap to that because I believe Tony Gravely has lost by guillotine previously in his career. Brett John's rear naked choke. Okay, Patchy mix, guillotine, armbar, decision, rear naked choke. So yeah, two rear naked chokes, an armbar, and a guillotine. That's something to look out for. Saimon Oliveira, he has really good cardio. He's really able to put on a full 3-round pace that's really good. He's a really good chin. He can take some big shots, and he's able to just eat it. Like I said previously, really tight guillotine. He's able to pull that. He likes that guillotine a lot. He has almost 5 or 6 wins from either guillotine or front choke. So it's something to look out for, and that's something that he could take advantage of because Gravely has struggled with that in the past. On the feet, his striking is wild, very big looping shots, making him very open to counters. And Gravely, he's really improved his striking. He's really improved on his counters. That's a path to victory for Gravely there, potentially by hitting him pretty hard with a counter. Additionally, his takedown offense isn't really great. I think Gravely has the better takedown defense, and he's really going to be able to stuff any kind of takedowns that Saimon Oliveria will hold, which is a big factor because Oliveria has that grappling advantage here, whereas Gravely definitely has the wrestling advantage, and I would say also the striking advantage. Official pick here is going to be Tony Gravely for sure. Moving on. Another Contender Series guy, Jack Della Maddalena versus Pete Rodriguez. Jack Della Maddalena was supposed to fight someone definitely higher up in the rankings. Warley Alves, that's right. Now, Pete Rodriguez, also new to the UFC, coming in only having four professional fights. But anyway, Jack Della Maddalena, I really like this guy. He is really well-rounded. Crisp technical striking with power also. Great combinations. Good striking defense as well. He does get hit at times and sometimes compromised, but he's able to recover. His striking is in and out. He's able to move in and out with his striking and kind of go in for a combo and then get out of the way before any kind of counters can come at him. He throws pretty high volume, so he's constantly throwing stuff, putting on a pace, putting on a pressure. Like I said, he counters really well as well. So if you're coming at him with any rushing in with any kind of combinations or even just straight power shots, he can counter you really well. He's really good submission defense. His last fight in the Contender Series, he was in a really tight, I think it was a guillotine. It was some kind of choke. But anyway, he was able to roll out of it, just power through it and turn into it and get out of that choke. His cardio is good, but when the pace is heavy, he can definitely slow in the third. He doesn't gas, he just slows down. And then he's shown in the past that he can really start slow in the first round. That wasn't the case in his last fight in the Contender Series. He actually started at a pretty high pace and threw a lot of volume. But before those fights, he used to just start really slow in the first, just kind of gaining information, downloading that from his opponent, throwing out a lot of feints, seeing what they're going to do. That actually sometimes put him in some trouble where those opponents would just barrage him and potentially, I believe, sometimes would clip him, put him in danger. He's always able to recover and collect himself and then usually get a finish because I believe he's 10 wins on his resume. I believe like either all of them or 9 of them are from finish. Yes, all 9 are from finish. The only decision he had was his last fight in the Contender Series. Also on the ground, if it ever does go to the ground, he has really good wrestling as well, and he has also a great ability to create scrambles. So if he ever does get taken down, he can kind of do any kind of just get in better positions for himself and figure out how to get it back to the feet, or even potentially end up on top for himself and have some top control pressure. Pete Rodriguez, again, only 4 professional fights, so not a whole lot of tape for this guy, and especially, I believe, all of his fights being knockouts in the first round. So, yeah, look at a 10-second knockout, 41-second knockout. So, yeah, this guy hasn't even been past a half a round. So there's a big cardio question there. Can this guy actually go a full round without getting gassed out? The thing about him, obviously, with those 4 knockouts being so soon, is power. He's really big power. You can even see it kind of in that picture that he's a pretty big dude for welterweight. He is really patient, though. He doesn't really throw it out there like crazy and like zero technique. So he does have that for him, and that potentially would help him prevent him from being gassed if this were to go past a round, because he is patient. He's looking for the shots that he wants. Again, his combos that he throws, explosive with that power, and again, level of competition here, super poor. All four guys that he's beat in the first round, total cans. So really hard to say here, like, who this guy kind of really is. And obviously this is a huge step up for him, and be a big opportunity if he can get a knockout over Della Maddalena, who's a really big prospect coming out of the Contender Series. But I just don't think he's going to be able to do it. I think Della Maddalena is just too slick, and I think Della Maddalena is probably going to get a finish here. So yeah, official pick, Della Maddalena from me. Next fight, we got Ilia Toperia versus Charles Jourdain. Unfortunately, this fight was going to be sick. It was supposed to be Ilia Toperia and Moskar Ilavov. So that was going to be a really good fight. Two undefeated fighters, two really top prospects. I was really looking forward to that, but Charles Jourdain does come in on short notice here, a little over a week's notice. To take on Ilia Toperia, which is going to be a really tough fight for him. I'm very high on Toperia. I honestly am even confident to say that I think he's going to be a champion in 2023. Reason not in 2022. I don't think he's going to have time to get the title shot, but I think 2023, Ilia Toperia is the champion of the featherweight division. This dude is so well-rounded, so great. Great striking, super strong, powerful punches, great feints, really catches people off guard, heavy hands, great combinations that he puts together. His offensive and defensive wrestling are just outstanding. Really high-level BJJ too. We've seen him in the UFC. He's had a decision win and two knockout wins. We haven't seen him put that BJJ to the test. We actually did in his first fight when it went to decision, but I believe he fought Yusuf Salal, who was really good at getting out of all those submission attempts that Ilia Toperia threw at him, and some of them were tight, man. And Yusuf Salal, goodness, was just really able to get out of all those tight situations. Anyway, continuing on with Ilia Toperia, you have really crazy top pressure when he's on top of you. He's really able to just chain submissions together over and over. So like you'll slowly get out of one submission, but he has another one already set up. So you're never out of it if you're on your back when Ilia Toperia is on top of you. He has really great submission defense. He's shown that he's able to get out of like some sticky situations as well in his past fights. He scrambles really well, if he's able to get back to his feet or in a better position for himself. The only bad thing I really saw is when he is on top and chasing those submissions, sometimes he chases those out of position, and then that puts him in a bad position where he can get submissioned or he could get ground and pound. Also, if the pace is really high, he could potentially slow down in that third round. But man, not a whole lot of things I don't like about Ilia Toperia, and that's why I think this dude is going to slingshot into the top 5 and definitely get a title shot in 2023, and I think he might win. Charles Jourdain coming in on short notice here. He throws really high volume. He's really accurate striker actually too, and he throws heavies sometimes too. But sometimes those heavy throws can get really wild, really loopy. He's really good cardio though. He's able to really put on a high pace for 3 rounds. A big factor here is he does bite on feints a lot. So Toperia is really good at throwing out a lot of feints. Charles Jourdain, he's shown in his past fight he bites on those consistently. Jourdain has pretty decent takedown defense. It's not bad, but he's been shown he's able to be taken down. If you throw it out there enough. If he does get taken down, though, he's pretty good at getting back to his feet and getting back into a better position for himself. And he's been rocked a couple times in the past fights, too. But, he was never, I believe he was never finished in his career, at least by knockout. So he was able to recover from those shots. I do believe he has 3 decision losses and 1 Decision. Yeah, and one submission. So yeah, never been knocked out, pretty durable, but he has been clocked before in a couple of fights previously. So I really would not be surprised if Ilia Toperia catches this dude with a couple feints and then just clocks him out with a good combination. Anyway, I think Ilia Toperia here definitely gets a finish, whether it be submission or a knockout. Official pick going to be Ilia Toperia. Moving on, Raoni Barcelos versus Victor Henry. This is another, I think, going to be a really great fight, actually. Victor Henry here making his UFC debut, but he has a really long resume in the Japanese promotions. In Ryzen and Pancreas, he has a lot of fights there. And then Raoni Barcelos, man, yeah, really high-level UFC fighter. As you can see, 18th in the world in bantamweight here, that Topology list. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really good fight, and I think Victor Henry is, a pretty decent fighter for never fighting in the UFC, if you will. So anyway, break it down. Raoni Barcelos really quick. He's a really well-rounded fighter. He pretty much does everything that you need to correctly. He is really crisp striking, a lot of power on his shots as well. He's really good wrestling as well. He can take you to the mat. He's good with takedowns. And he has really good BJJ too. He's able to take your back if you leave it that option for him, and he's able to look for submissions if you're going to give him those opportunities. Again, yeah, really powerful hands on the feet. He's able to knock you out on the feet if you aren't careful. Takedown defense is actually really, really good. He has really high percentage for his takedown defense. So hard to take this dude down. The only thing is, again, if there is a high pace at all, he's shown that he can slow down in the third round. Again, he doesn't gas, like I've said before about previous fighters. He just slows down. Going over Victor Henry, this dude has crazy cardio. This dude never stops. He's the same pace for the entire fight from start to finish. He will just keep going, and he won't get tired. So his cardio is one of his key factors here for him, and a big plus. He has heavy pressure and a high pace, so obviously his cardio is good, and he sets a high pressure and a high pace for his opponents. So he just tries to take over and overwhelm his opponents with his cardio and his pressure and pace. His takedown defense is honestly not the greatest. He's been shown that he's really easily able to be taken down. However, when he does get taken down, he remains very calm on his back. He looks for submissions off his back, and or he looks for opportunities for an escape. His striking, he has pretty decent striking, honestly, too. It's not really that bad. But again, I still think Raoni Barcelos really excels everywhere here. I think the only area that Victor Henry has an edge in is cardio. And, again, Raoni Barcelos, I could see a path to victory for Victor Henry to putting on just a crazy high pace in the first, try and do, grind on Barcelos and just gas him out in the first so he can take the second and third. But I just don't think it'll happen. I think Barcelos can at least push the pace and keep that pace, or he'll keep the pace that Henry puts on for the first and second round, and then win those and maybe drop a third. If he doesn't get a finish in the first or second, I could see Henry here getting finished as well. But he is a really durable guy, a really tough guy. I don't think he's been finished in his career. Decision. Yep. Has never been finished, so he's a really durable guy. So maybe he won't be finished here, but yeah, I think this is actually going to be a really great fight. I'm excited for it, but I think Barcelos definitely has the edge in a lot of factors here. So official pick definitely going to be Barcelos. Moving on here, we got Rodolfo Vieira versus Wellington Turman. So going through Rodolfo Vieira first. He's a really high-level BJJ. This guy's praised for his BJJ. His nickname is the Black Belt Hunter because he goes out there and he submits black belts. That's how high-level his jiu-jitsu is. On top of that, his striking isn't really great, but he does have a really nice jab that he throws, and he's a big dude for the division. Like he is gigantic, really muscular. So that jab can really hurt you. Although it's just a jab, it's essentially a power jab. His wrestling is really good, actually, especially his offensive wrestling. He's really good takedowns, singles and double legs. I said he's really strong too, so he can push the pace, or not push the pace. He can really, throw you around, make you work, get you to the ground. That's where he wants to be. He wants to be on top, on the ground, and he wants to submit you. And he's able to do that because his wrestling is very good. And he's so strong to be able to just pull you down. The one big thing for him, though, is his cardio. His cardio is super questionable. His last fight, he came out with a win against Dustin Stolfus, but he didn't put on really a high pace in the first round. He didn't even shoot for a takedown. He was just jabbing him up all day. And I think it was a close round. I'm not sure who won the round, but I think Stolfus actually may have leaned that round for me. Can't exactly say for sure, but it was definitely close. So yeah, that cardio is questionable. The fight before that was Fluffy Hernandez. He essentially gassed himself out in the first round. Hernandez just started tearing him up on the feet because he was so gassed, and then eventually got the submission in the second round. He can take shots though. In that Fluffy Hernandez fight, man, this dude got destroyed on the feet, like hit so hard with everything that Hernandez had, and he didn't get knocked out, so he can take shots. And he was gassed at that point too, and he did not get knocked down. I said it before with his striking, it's really one-dimensional. He doesn't really throw combos at all. He just throws that jab out there, and then he might throw a hook here and there. Interesting thing here. This will be the first time he'll have a reach advantage in his UFC career. So it'll be interesting to see, how he'll use that jab effectively, if he'll be able to maintain his distance and kind of effectively strike. On the other side here, Wellington Turman, he has really good takedown defense, actually. He's able to stuff a lot of takedowns from, I shouldn't say a lot of takedowns. I believe he stuffed, only 4 takedowns. I could be just shitting out of my ass there. But anyway, whether or not the numbers what they are, but he does have good takedown defense. He's shown. He's a really good grappler too. He's known as a grappler as well. I'm not sure if he's a black belt, but he's a good grappler. That tends to be where he tries to win his fights. He tries to push you up against the cage, grind you in the clinch, and then try to take your back or take you to the ground with some kind of takedown and work you there. His cardio is pretty good, but he does also slow in the third round at times if the pace is pushed. He's really open to counters on the feet for striking. He can wear opponents down in the clinch. Like I said before, he resolves to that clinch a lot, and he leans on them, wears on them in the clinch, gets a lot of control time, and tries to take your back on the cage or tear you down to get to a better position. His striking, it's not very technical. It is like kind of looping shots here and there and everything, but it's not bad. And he does have some power in his hands, but his chin's really questionable. He's been put out a couple times, although, he did fight some heavy hitters in Bruno Silva and Andrew Sanchez. Both of those guys knocked him out. But he was showing actually a pretty good fight against Bruno Silva before getting knocked out. So there's that, at least plus, and then against Andrew Sanchez, I don't really think he showed much there before Sanchez was able to just kind of knock him out cold. Man, I still haven't made. I usually make my picks before I start the video, but I still haven't made up my mind on this pick, actually, just because I don't really trust for Vieira here with his cardio, and Turman has never been submitted in his career. But again, Vieira is the black belt hunter, so he's obviously going to have the edge in the grappling here. But I think Turman actually might have the advantage on the feet I think he has the cardio advantage. You know, his takedown defense isn't bad. This could be a nice cold pick because I know a lot of people are on Rodolfo Vieira. But my official pick is actually going to be Wellington Turman. I'm going to see if that cardio is really a factor here. Going to hope he can push a pace and tire out Vieira and, get the win by either by decision or finish him late. Okay, moving on. We got Cody Stamann versus Said Nurmagomedov. So Cody Stamann, really high-level wrestler, really good boxing, and he can close the distance well. He's really short arms. So every fight that he has that reach disadvantage that he has to deal with. He's good at closing that distance. Super durable fighter, very tough. Believe never finished inside the UFC. He's pretty good pressure at times. He has good movement in the early rounds until his cardio comes into factor a little bit. He does have good cardio overall. He's been shown that he can really push a pace for all 3 rounds, especially in his last fight against Merab Dashvili. Obviously, we all know Merab is like a absolute machine with his cardio, and Cody Stamann actually looked pretty good in that. He actually won a 3rd round in my books. So, it's not a bad showing for Cody Stamann, especially against someone like Merab. Cody can sometimes be spotty with his volume, though. Some fights he throws a lot of volume, some fights he doesn't. Moving on to Said Nurmagomedov. He has really good counters. His striking in general is just pretty good. He's a long guy for the division. He's really good counters. He throws a lot of spinning attacks. He actually had a finish with a spinning kick, I believe, to the body. The finish, Lamos, one of those Brazilians. He's really good movement on the feet, and he's really able to maintain distance well, which I think is going to play a factor here with about a 5-inch reach advantage. His takedown defense is really good. He has really, really long legs, which makes it really difficult to get him to the ground. And even when he gets to the ground, it depends. Certain situations he's able to get right back up. But if you get him in a certain situation, he struggles. So it depends. But yeah, those long legs makes it really difficult for people to kind of lift him off the ground or really connect for double leg and lock your hands to pick him up and finish the takedown. Again, he actually sometimes throws low volumes at times as well. Some fights he doesn't throw a lot of volume at all. Others he throws a decent amount. He never throws a lot. This fight could be interesting. You know what, Cody Stamann he definitely has the wrestling advantage, but Nurmagomedov, I think, has the striking advantage. I think Nurmagomedov's takedown defense is really good. I think Cody Stamann's gonna probably. I think he's gonna probably struggle to get him to the ground, and I think Nurmagomedov, with that reach and maintaining his distance, is probably gonna win on the feet with the striking. So, official pick's gonna be Said Nurmagomedov. Next fight, we have Michel Pereira versus Andre Fialho. Andre Fialho is short minute replacement. They were supposed to have this fight on the last card as well. Pereira was supposed to fight Muslim Salikov, but he dropped out and withdrew. Andre was supposed to fight on that card as a short minute replacement, but I think Pereira got COVID or tested positive for COVID or something. But anyway, now they're on this card. Anyway, I'm really excited for this fight too because Michel Pereira, he is one of the funnest fighters to watch, man. He throws like crazy stuff all the time. He'll throw rolling thunders. He'll do Superman punches off the cage. He'll do Showtime kicks off the cage. If you're on the ground on your back and he's on his feet, he'll do backflips into your guard. He's absolutely wild. Really fun guy to watch. And he's actually really good too. Going over him first. He has pretty good stand-up. He's good hands. He's able to close the distance really well as well if there's a reach disadvantage, which he slightly does have, but it's not going to be a huge factor with only an inch reach advantage. Early has really good movement. He's a big guy for the division. I don't know how much weight he cuts, but he looks huge when he's in there in the octagon. He has a really good chin too. He's hard to put away with the strikes. Also, a lot of stance switches really confuses a lot of his opponents to kind of see like what he's doing, where he's at. One of those stances he has is that karate stance, wide stance, hands low kind of thing. Movement well, able to dodge any blitzes or anything that come in. Maintains distance well. I believe I went over that. He can get wild at times, and he can get like stupid at times. He does stupid stuff, like I was saying, like rolling thunders, Superman punches off the wall, Showtime kicks off the wall. He just sometimes goes way too crazy, and his cardio can't keep up with that. So yeah, questionable gas tank. But when the pace is pushed, that's when his gas tank is in question. So he fought Nico Price, I think, last, and Nico Price has a really good gas tank. Yeah, Michel Pereira kind of gassed out in that third round a little bit, slowed down significantly. However, he did already win the first 2 rounds, so he was able to survive Nico Price at the end there and win the fight. Moving on to Andre Fialho. So I guess coming in here, not with a full camp, probably about 2 weeks notice, maybe less. Making his UFC debut, man, this dude has some power. He is strong. If he can connect one of his power shots on your chin, it's going to be hard to take that and survive. He has actually really good takedown defense. He's really patient with his striking, too. He does put on a pressure at times, so he marches forward as well to keep you, on your toes and backing up. He has really good clinch work when he engages in the clinch and on the fence. He's a solid striking defense as well. He doesn't get a lot go through. I don't think he's ever been finished either. I think all his losses have come from a decision loss. He did get a ground and pound against Chris Curtis. Okay. So he was finished twice. So eat my words there. But again, Chris Curtis, Action Man Curtis, if you know him, he's on the rise in the UFC. 2 late-minute replacement fights in the UFC and 2 knockout wins. So really impressive what Chris Curtis has done so far. And Chidi Nojinwika, he's coming into the UFC. I believe he has a fight coming up soon. He has a lot of power in his hands too. Nevertheless, Andre Fialho, I think there's a chance he could actually win this fight, because if Michel Pereira does stupid stuff, like sometimes he does, it's hard to trust him, hard to bet on him. But my official prediction, not taking odds into account at all here, is going to be Michel Pereira. Moving on here. Now we got the flyweight championship of the world. I don't know why they ran this one back, to be honest. I would have liked to seen someone else challenge Brandon Moreno, but all right, we get this again. So Brandon Moreno, man, really crisp technical boxing. He's really good with his striking, really nice jab and really good combinations. If he can get you to the ground, if he can take your back, that's super dangerous. Obviously, we saw in the last fight against Figueiredo, he choked him out once he got his back. His striking defense is also really good too. Although it seems like Figueiredo has a lot of success in the first fight. With Moreno's striking defense, he was able to get through a lot and hit Moreno a lot. Moreno's cardio is fantastic. He can go all 5 rounds, all 5 championship rounds, hard. He's hard to finish. He's got heart. He's got toughness. If you're putting money on this guy, it's not going to be a bad thing, because dude's not going to tap. Dude's not going to get, he's going to lose. If he's going to lose, he's going to get knocked out cold, or he's going to get put out, choked out. He's not going to tap to a submission. He's also not going to give up, if he's wobbled or hurt. He's really great takedown offense. He was able to be very successful in our last fight with Figueiredo, getting him down 4 times in only about 3.5 rounds. And he also has a really great chin. He's able to take a lot of big shots. Figueiredo has probably the best power in the division, and he was able to eat those a lot. Moving on to Figueiredo. man, this dude has power in his hands for the flyweight division. This dude cuts a ton of weight, and he is big, man. I don't know how he makes 125, but anyway, that power is crazy. On top of that, he's a really tight guillotine. He likes to pull that a lot. Finished Alex Perez in his first title defense with that pretty quickly in the first round, actually. Super aggressive as well, especially in the early rounds. He's going to come forward, come at you, throw a lot of volume, throw a lot of heavy shots. He's really good cardio, but again, he does slow down as the rounds go on. But he doesn't really gas, I wouldn't say at all. He's a really good ability to create scrambles as well when he gets taken down or getting put into any weird situations. He actually works pretty good off his back too. He throws volume off his back, throws heavy elbows, looks for submissions. If he's getting hurt, he can create a scramble situation and get out of it. Generally. He's also I like he has a really good mix of throwing shots to the head, to the body, to the legs. He mixes it up a lot, which kind of always keeps the opponent guessing of where he's going to come and where he's going to do. He has a really good ability to get back to his feet when he has the opportunity as well. Creating those scrambles, getting back to his feet, or pushing off on the hips and kind of maneuvering back, either grabbing a leg or getting straight up. He does have that forward pressure, heavy pressure in the early rounds. Super tough for the division. He can get wild with his striking at times, and he's also really one-dimensional with his striking. He just throws one big shot, and that's it. And then he'll recoup, throw another big shot, and maybe if he sees that he hurts you, he'll go in like a shark in water with there's blood in it. And he smells the blood and he just goes crazy and frenzy. But he just throws one big power shot at a time. Never really throws any combinations together. Also has a really great chin. He's able to take a lot of big shots from Moreno, and a lot of big shots from past opponents as well. So, man, this one I didn't pick someone yet either. But on the spot, I'm gonna pick. I'm going to pick Brandon Moreno, man. I just think he's too technical for Devin Figueiredo, and, it's the technical over the power guy, and I'm going to take the technical guy. Yeah, I think he has, the technical advantage on the feet. Figueiredo has the power advantage, and I think Moreno has the wrestling advantage as well as the grappling advantage. Figueiredo does have the tight guillotine that he can pull, but I lean Moreno with a lot of these advantages. But don't get me wrong, this is a close fight. This is like a 50-50 fight to me, but I do lean Moreno to win this, and Moreno's going to be my official pick. And the final fight of the card, heavyweight championship of the UFC, Francis Ngannou versus Ciryl Gane. Man, the power striker, hardest hitting guy ever in history, man. This dude throws hammers at people and knocks them the hell out. And Ciryl Gane, man, the most technical heavyweight I've ever seen, man. This dude is incredible. So yeah, going through, we'll go over Ngannou first. Again, everybody knows him. I won't go over this fight too much because I feel like everybody already knows who these guys are. Ngannou, he has the power, man, the power to put you out. One shot will put you out. His blitz attack, he did on Rosenstrike, knocked him out in 20 seconds. Rosenstrike had no way to defend that. Obviously, gigantic dude for the division. Dude is just a ball of muscle. His last fight against Stipe, his patience developed. He's really patient now. He's able to wait for his shots and put them together first. And I think that's going to definitely be a factor here. He's definitely going to use that patience once again. The thing about Francis Ngannou, though, dude, is cardio. Is his cardio going to hold up if this goes over 2 rounds? Who knows? This dude has barely been out of the first round ever in his career. He hit the second round against Stipe, but early he got Stipe out of there early in the second round. So if he's throwing a lot of shots and if he's pressured by Gane, he may gas out by the second round and Gane could finish him off. If Gane does decide to go to the ground, he has shown improved takedown defense that he showed against Stipe, man. He really stuffed that takedown that Stipe tried to get in the first round last fight pretty easily. Moving on to Cyril Gane, man, this guy's movement for the heavyweight division and how big he is just crazy. He's so light on his feet, and his striking is just so technical. He definitely has the best technical striking in the division. I would like to point out the fight when he fought Alexander Volkov. I think Volkov also has some of the best technical striking in the division, and he made Volkov look like a chump and destroyed him on won just about every round in that fight. Gane has really great cardio as well. He's able to go all 5 rounds if he needs to, and he showed that in the past. He has great pressure, and he puts on high volume at times as well. He's really great striking defense too. He's really able to get out of the way of any shots that are coming forward to him, and he really keeps the range well. That movement he has, keeping the range, it's going to play a huge factor in this fight, man. And officially, I'm picking Cyril Gane, man. I just don't think Ngannou's going to be able to connect. Cyril Gane's his movement's going to be there. He's going to keep range. He's going to make Ngannou miss. And Gane's going to put on the pressure, put on the pace. Ngannou's going to gas out by the 2nd or 3rd round, and Gane's just going to take over and either finish him late or just win a decision. Pretty reasonably, I would think. Probably winning maybe 4 rounds to 1 if Ngannou lands a couple big ones. Gane's chin is questionable because we've never really seen him get clipped hard. But yeah, official pick is going to be Cyril Gane. All right, guys. And that's all we got. That's all the fights for the card. Thanks, guys, for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. If you agreed or disagreed with anything I said, please leave a comment down below. And, if you have any other comments on the fights, I'd love to hear them. Also, look out for a couple videos coming this week. My best bets video and my parlay plays video. Best bets, I'll go over all the best bets I have for this card, as well as my parlay plays. I'll have a couple different parlays for you, some conservative parlays, as well as some risky parlays that'll get us back some money. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys, for watching the video, and I'll see you later.